Okay, so we are joined here with Oliver from InsurAce, the founder and project lead, and James Simpson from mStable. I'm Dan, the director of marketing and business development for InsurAce, and today we're just going to be talking a little bit about our partnership, where both protocols and just how the sort of recent partnership between InsurAce.io and mStable has benefited everyone. Let's start with just a couple of quick introductions from you both, as well as an overview of your projects. Oliver, you first.
Okay, sure. Yeah. Thanks, James, for joining the meeting today. Yeah. So I think we had a very good partnership in the past few weeks that benefits the users of both protocols. Yeah, thanks very much for the support. So my name is Oliver. I'm the founder of InsurAce.io protocol. And at InsurAce, we are a DeFi insurance protocol targeting to provide reliable, robust, and secure DeFi insurance services to the DeFi users. Yeah, James, yours.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. Thanks, Oliver, for having me on. We're really excited about working with InsurAce. mStable has been always kind of concerned with making sure our products are as secure as possible, and it makes sense to for protocols to collaborate with insurance services. I'm the founder of mStable. mStable is a suite of stablecoin related products. We have a stablecoin AMM. We have a savings account, a high yielding savings account for USD and BTC. And our AMM also generates Meta stablecoins. So we have a Meta BTC asset and a Meta USD asset that's backed by the reserves of our AMM. And there's some risk minimization properties baked into the protocol itself. But what's exciting is working with InsurAce to improve those services. I'm just going to get my alarm off. One moment.
Yeah, no worries. No, it's a really interesting project. I mean, I remember when it first came across my desk, and we looked at it, and it's fascinating, such a deep dive into just such a range of stablecoin products. It's amazing to see how DeFi evolves in that way. Okay, so we'll just dive right in. Oliver, would you mind explaining to, I guess, our viewers about how exactly the insurance services work to cover the mStable assets?
Yeah, sure. So first of all, I think what we at InsurAce, what we provide is a multi-chain DeFi insurance. So as of recently, we have covered over 30 million of DeFi assets for over 40 protocols, a variety of different chains. Yeah. So as for mStable, and we have provided coverage for mStable both on Polygon and Ethereum. So the kind of service we can provide is mostly on the smart contract security side. So let's say mStable has built an amazing stablecoin products and savings functions there. And let's say if there's any hacking events happens, those who bought coverages for mStable smart contracts InsurAce can get a way to hedge their risk, get compensated, and this in turn will provide more confidence for mStable users as well, and also for InsurAce, we're more of creating more values for our users as well. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. And yeah, James, I guess I suppose as a sort of follow up to that, how do you see that best fitting in with what you're doing? You sort of mentioned on it before as a nice sort of add-on. Obviously, no one wants to say that their protocol is vulnerable to any attacks, but at the same time, it's DeFi. Everything evolves so fast. There's always some potential out there, and it's an outside risk, obviously. But at the same time, we like to think that the insurance mitigates the risk of any attacks. But how do you see that fitting in with your sort of protocol as it is now, and also for the future?
Yeah, great question. So, I mean, it's all about peace of mind for the end user. And with mStable and with a lot of DeFi protocols, they've been looking at the insurance problem internally. And actually, the first iteration of mStable looked at having our meta token act as a source of recollateralization. So it's effectively selling, if our meta asset loses its peg, we would sell our native token to buy back the meta asset to bring it back to the new level of lower collateral. And that could work. And we're actually still looking at ways where we can kind of have an internal insurance fund as a first step. But the issue is, and Maker has a similar kind of functionality in their token. The issue with this token is that you kind of have to dump on yourself at the most vulnerable time in your protocol, and that's something that we are trying to work around. And I think having third-party insurance providers where users opt in to insurance services just makes sense. So I think with our Save product particularly, it's a very high yielding Save product. It's been about 10 to 30% APY since launch. I think if users wanted to, some users wanted to spend a little bit of money on covering their position, it makes sense. A lot of our LPs have kind of $500,000 to multi-million-dollar positions in Save. So I think for those particular users, using InsurAce makes a lot of sense. Whereas some users might not want to pay for it if they just have small positions in there.
Yeah, definitely. And you never know where the attack's going to come from. If anywhere, it's as much as you could have your own, obviously your own sort of mitigation against that risk and your own funds in such an event. Even with Maker, there is every chance that it could actually be that ends up being the part of your protocol that gets the attack on it. And like you said, for for essentially a 30% return annually, our current annual cost on mStable is around 2.5%. So, the user's still going to be generating 27.5%, but a safe, stable return, which is essentially the fuel that's going to ignite the bigger institutions coming into the space. In my opinion, I think that's the way the future of this is going. Oliver may have his own opinion on it.
Yeah. So I think one of the another, content of the partnership with mStable is we actually accept MUSD as our underwriting asset. So in this way, we're actually creating another utility for MUSD as well. So MUSD, users and holders can actually use those assets for insurance underwriting and earn the rewards as well. Actually, I think just a few hours before this meeting, we have seen another big stake in using MUSD into our underwriting pool as well. So I think in this way, we're actually creating utilities for both protocols.
Yeah, it's a great partnership. I mean, I know we're very happy to be working with mStable, and it works both ways. And I'm sure there's plenty more we can be doing in the future as well. So I guess the next question for you, James, would be how are you incentivizing the adoption of insurance for users as you continue to grow? What more can we from InsurAce.io do to get your users on board, and how do you see your users adopting our services? Going forward.
Yeah, well, I think a really great first step was that we had a 20% discount, and we still do, I think, for a few more months on mStable users covering their positions on InsurAce. And I think the way it works in this partnership is that users get a rebate in the INSUR token, and that's, I think, a really fantastic way to adopt usage in DeFi, as we know. I think longer term, if we move away from token incentives for a moment, I think making it really seamless from the front end in mStable to buy cover on the position for users on our app, I think would be a really great next step. I'd be excited to kind of even take some of the APY that a user is earning and redirect that to InsurAce to buy cover. And the user doesn't really feel like they're paying for an insurance. It just kind of shows them their APY, which should still be healthy if it continues to be as high as it has been. But they just clicked a button and got cover. So I think those kind of usability things would be like a longer term solution.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've seen great uplift in other protocols that have a very simple, one-click functionality. But what you're talking about is essentially a zero-click functionality, which I think Oliver can explain more. But with the release of an API we've got coming up soon, we hope to actually be able to integrate that sort of service. I mean, Oliver can give a few more details, I guess.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think James just talked about the integration, right, with our insurance services. So that's something we're currently developing. We're developing a full set of APIs so that what we call it as insurance as a service, so that other DeFi protocols can just use that API, to integrate and call our insurance services. So I think that can create a very, sweet spot that so that we can integrate with mStable at the smart contract level. So let's say when the users are using your savings function, right, in a due course, we can have a tick box there. Hey, if you want to get covered, then if you tick that box, we can automatically give you a premium, and then all this done in one transaction, which will also save their gas fee as well. So this is definitely something we are developing in the past few weeks, and that is expected to come out in the upcoming, I think, 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah, and we're also putting a lot of security measures into this whole process because interoperability is one of the biased part of DeFi, but it's also one of the most fragile part. A lot of the DeFi security events come from the interoperability. So that's something we're enhancing as well. So another part of the API we're developing is an UI-based API. So we are targeting to use that as a kind of a referral program, so that we will generate a referral link for other websites, for other like influencers to use, so that every time when people click that referral link, it will automatically redirect it to our site, and people can just buy insurance in one shot. So overall, I think the smart contract level of API is something that we're developing, and we hope to integrate with mStable. And James, hope you can support us as a SIG user for that function. Yeah, I think both teams can work on that once our API is ready.
Yeah, that's great. And yeah, I guess mStable is a fantastic example for us to use, because since we already work with the MUSD token, we can hopefully easily integrate sort of the rewards and benefits back into the InsurAce.io platform as well. So it seems like there's a really nice synergy there coming up, and I'm excited if we can get more mStable users over and everyone's earning rewards everywhere. Then we're all winning, and if it makes everything safe and we get some big institutions coming in, even better. So I guess that's sort of the next big milestone for InsurAce.io. How about you, James? What's coming up next?
Yeah, thanks. So mStable is building out a kind of suite of stablecoin products. We want people to come to mStable and see it as the home of stablecoins, where you come to swap, save, leverage, and kind of potentially even insure through InsurAce your stablecoins. And so for us, there are a few kind of key things that are coming up. Apologies for the beeping. A few things that are coming up in our roadmap of note. Where a few meetings coming up, I think. One is a kind of staked ETH variety, a composite M asset staked ETH that we're really excited about. And I think insurance for this product would be particularly interesting. There are a lot of liquid staking solutions. We've seen some hacks recently in them. So we're interested in creating a meta asset for that. Would be interested to discuss how we can insure that product. if we can create kind of an averaged yield liquid staking meta asset that's insured, I think that there would be a definite market for that. And we've also looking at how we can create a kind of less collateralized stablecoin borrowing product. So we're not sure if it's going to be under collateralized yet, but certainly more capital efficient than current solutions. So that's a kind of another product we're working on in the background. But yeah, looking forward to kind of deepening our relationship with InsurAce as we roll out these releases.
No, fantastic. No, it's super exciting times, and yeah, I mean, definitely we'll be looking at helping to insure those assets as well. Okay, I guess the biggest question and my favorite one for most people is, what are your current challenges you're facing in the DeFi space at the moment? Obviously, the market's having a bit of a wobble. Everyone's, well, general investors are playing it easy and cool. There's positive news, there's negative news. It's a bit unstable, and I'm very confident in saying we're both projects that are just continuing to just bury our heads and just keep building, keep focusing on the future. But obviously there are still obstacles and things to overcome. So I guess, Oliver, we'll start with you. What's the biggest challenge for us right now?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge for us, on the one hand, is about the market condition right now. You see the market overall, I think the market sentiment is kind of weak. Yeah, a lot of the tokens are jumping, and the mainboard tokens are also jumping. So that actually creates some, kind of pessimistic sentiment in the market. However, as Dan just mentioned, I think that creates some pressure for project teams, but it's also a good correction that a very good time for us to just keep our heads down and focus on building. Yeah, so hopefully when the market gets back, and we can get a strong response as well. I think on the other hand, in terms of the product or the marketing, I think just because the market is getting a bit of a chilly, so I think building traction is even harder for DeFi projects, right? I think let's say back to June, when the market is overall in a bull cycle, and everyone is super excited about what's happening in whole space. So but currently, I think a lot of people left the space, but that actually creates some challenges for DeFi projects to build up the traction. But I think overall, as long as we keep building, and I think things will work out.
Yeah, definitely. James?
Yeah, I think obviously markets are emotional on the way up and the way down, or even when they're flat. But I kind of see it as we're all startups, but a lot of these startups have their tokens or kind of equity-like things trading from a very early stage. And that's pretty unhealthy for a lot of teams to concentrate on, because we're still kind of in the process of building our core product and our core user base. I think if you just zoom out, we're offering a savings account that on ETH at least is offering 12.9% APY on US dollars that's insured. So compare that product to what you get in a bank account. It's pretty damn good, and that's now. So I think in terms of the actual product that we're creating, nothing's changed. So I hope that people see that and keep using our products. And I think at some point the market will go up once those users come in.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I think that this is the right time when people are a bit sort of nervous about certain other crypto assets, but to have those sort of stable assets there that they can then have gaining a return on, and also have it protected and insured is great. In current market conditions, I think we'll see a lot more people using it as a sort of mitigation against market volatility going forward, instead of just switching over to Tether and waiting, for example. I think having these options, these DeFi options there in the meantime, are great for it. And if the whole market sort of even shifts in that direction, it's great as well. It moves away from traditional finance and keeps it, keeps it in your own wallet at the end of the day. So no, it's a really interesting space. It's going to be super fascinating what happens the next sort of 6 months, whatever happens with the market. I know we're both developing and both building some really, really great products. Do either of you have any sort of final thoughts? Anything else you'd like to add at this point?
Yeah, I heard that James, you're in Paris at the ETHCC, right?
Yeah, I'm currently in Paris at the ETHCC conference. So just stepped out of the conference and the meetings, back to the apartment. It's quite a hot day here in Paris, but so good to see the Ethereum community together. And yeah, it's definitely alive and kicking. And nobody's talking about the price, really, actually. Everyone's just talking about collaborating and their products that they're building. And it's a really great environment. And yeah, I mean, to close off, I think I just want to thank the InsurAce community for working with mStable. I know our community are really excited about the partnership, and yeah, look forward to continuing working together.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think thanks for your support as well. I think we definitely love to get more collaborations with mStable and mStable community, and also mStable DAO, which we have discussed before. So I think let's just keep this moving forward. Yeah, and once our API is done, I think we can see some even greater collaborations there. Yeah.
Yeah, we should also mention that the person who put us together was Defiance Capital, which is a mutual investor of ours, and and I think that it's an example of investors actually being very valuable. So yeah, we should thank Eugene from Defiance Capital as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Defiance Capital. You guys are brilliant. All right, guys, thank you so much for your time. I'm going to include links to both projects when we get this video description uploaded, with the transcription coming up following that for a nice long blog post. If anyone who's watching the video has any comments or questions, please do leave them under the video and we will get back to them as soon as possible. But guys, thanks so much for your time, and yeah, looking forward to it. Sounds like a really bright future.